Hey everybody, it's Muscle Car Campy, and if you like full-size cars with lots of cubic inches, you came to the right place. You know, once upon a time, all American performance cars were big. Cars like the Chrysler 300, the Rocket 88, they had good power under the hood, and they came in one size, large. Then came the 64 GTO, and all bets were off. Suddenly, mid-size performance was what was in, but today we've got SS427, big full-size Chevy. You're gonna love it. Before we really get into it though, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That way you're notified every time a new video goes live. You know, once cars like the GTO, the Roadrunner, the SS396 Chevelle, etc. started flying out of showrooms, the full-size performance cars really took a pounding at the showroom. Cars like the 427 Fords and Mercurys, the 421 and 428 Pontiacs, they were great cars, and this is a perfect example of why they were desirable. Unfortunately, the market had shifted. It was like long hair. Suddenly, if you didn't have long hair, you were square, dude. But cars like this 68 Impala SS427, yeah, we called it an Impala, more on that later, prove that these were desirable, fast cars, lots of styling, and best of all, they rode like cream puffs. These things just went down the road like a dream. Today's feature car belongs to Gordon Frank, and he bought this car from a friend of his about 5 years ago. He helped this friend restore the car, and then once it was done, he liked it so much, he bought it, drove it from Wisconsin to Florida. That was some kind of trip. And today, he's done a few more little things to it, but we want to go over this car. It's a really cool piece of American iron. You know, the Chevy 409 was legendary, even before the Beach Boys sang about it. With tons of rear gear, Motor Trend got a 61 Impala to go 1402 at 98 miles per hour. High performance cars got a 63 4¼ horse 409 SS to run 102 miles an hour, which was absolutely blistering at the time. By the latter part of the decade, though, the market shifted. For '67, Chevy eliminated the solid lifter 427-425 from the option sheet on the full-size Chevy. Only the 385-horse hydraulic lifter 427 could be had in the Impala SS or any of the big cars. The L72 returned for '68, but who knows how many were actually sold. Most, like our feature car, got the L36, which produced 385 ponies and 460 pound-feet of torque. It was the perfect match for these behemoths. The well of torque was bottomless, perfect for moving 2 tons of bow tie and people, and most folks who got the full-size SS were now interested in sporty, comfy cruising rather than tearing up the drag strip. Either way, Chevy was selling 1 million full-size cars a year. Nearly 800,000 Impalas were sold alone. Perhaps the L72 Impala had outlived its usefulness. You know, there were only 1,778 Impala SS427s made in 1968. There is no breakdown on how many were L36 cars like this one and how many were L72 cars. There are precious few options this car did not get. It's got power windows. It's got the full gauge package with the correct redline 5,500 RPM tach. It's got air conditioning. Being a mental patient, I love the AM/FM 8-track player. The prerequisite has the Beach Boys playing in it. It's got tilt wheel. Costs so little, does so much. It's got cruise control, the button right here. It does not have a power seat on the driver's side, which I think is pretty unusual, and it does not have power locks. You would have figured at what point do you stop checking off option boxes? But I guess that was the cool part of ordering a car in 1968. You get what you want exactly the way you want it, and if you don't want a power seat and you don't want a power door locks, don't get them. Perhaps the most unusual part of this car is that the interior possibly makes it one of a kind. When it was ordered new, the husband wanted an all-red interior and the wife wanted the white interior. Now, if you ordered red, you got a red instrument panel, red door panels, red seats, and red carpeting. If you ordered white, you got a black instrument panel, white door panels, and black carpeting, along with the white seats. This car was ordered with red And once it came in, before it was delivered, the dealer installed white buckets in the front and a white bench seat in the rear for the wife. Everybody knows the 427 came out in 1966, both in hydraulic and solid lifter form. This car has been modified slightly. You'll see a GM Performance part, aluminum intake on top. It's got long tube headers, and the dual snorkel air cleaner, not factory. It did come with a single snorkel air filter from the factory, but let's be honest, it looks better with duals. Nobody would really know unless you're an expert that that's not how it came, and it definitely helps this big rat breathe better. Interestingly enough, the swap to the aluminum intake not only added horsepower, it actually helped the car run cooler down here, especially with the air conditioner on. A couple of features under here that you just don't see. Cruise control. I mean, how cool is the cruise control? The big old-fashioned Harrison air conditioning compressor. I mean, this car is just amazing. Love, love, love power brakes. They are not discs though, they are four-wheel drums. One thing the owner told me when he first was driving the car, the pedal pressure was very inconsistent. He had to pump the pedal to get the right feel. He did not understand it. He changed the master, got another one, didn't work. After a while, after replacing the brakes and replacing everything and still having a problem, he checked the master cylinder and it was something missing. The residual check valve that GM put in from the factory. The Chinese-made ones did not have it. So if you're having any kind of problems with the brake system on your car, check the master cylinder. Make sure you get one that's made in America or find an NOS one that's been rebuilt. Without that residual check valve, he went crazy trying to figure out what was wrong with his brakes, and now the car stops straight and sure every time. Gordy, we're in your 68 SS427 Impala convertible. Thing is loaded with options, but you drive it everywhere. You've had this car for a number of years, and even though it's only got 46,000 miles on it, you drive this thing all over the place, don't you?
Drive it, car shows, during the weekends. I drive it constantly. It's a car I use.
And what's interesting is you told me when you bought it from your friend in Wisconsin, you drove it to Florida. You didn't put it in a trailer. You just said, let's do this.
Yes, and I drove it in December. I looked at the weather. There was an opening of good weather before all the snow came. Jumped in the car and drove down. Didn't get any snow until I got into Georgia, into the mountains.
Wow.
And that's when the snow came and kind of made me pretty upset. Never had snow.
Well, it doesn't look like it's any worse for the wear and tear. Dare I ask, did you measure the fuel economy?
Yes. It's about 10 to 12 miles to the gallon.
Alright, well that's not horrendous. It would be a lot better if gas was still 30 cents a gallon, not $2 a gallon, probably what it was then.
Yeah,
but
the gas in here, I run the boat gas without the ethanol, and it's around $3.90 to $4 a gallon. So
yeah, no, it's so big. Like I said before, I almost feel like I should be calling you on the phone rather than talking to you in the car, because you're a pretty good distance away. What's your favorite part of the car? I always ask people that.
Actually, I think I enjoy driving it the most. I really do. It's a pleasure to drive.
Now you're just showing off, putting on the air conditioning. You know, we got the windows up so we can have less wind noise when we ride. But I just love that hood is absolutely massive. The red paint is spectacular. The seats, the white seats. And as you pointed out to me when we met, it does not say Impala anywhere on this car. It just says SS427. But Chevrolet was selling so many Impalas then, I don't think anybody had to say, hey, what kind of car is that?
Right.
It was distinctively styled. It was all Chevrolet. They knew what it was. You have an interesting story yourself. When you lived in Wisconsin, you worked building Excaliburs, which
Yes.
was a neoclassic custom car with its own chassis and GM components. You built Jackie Gleason's car. You restored Jackie Gleason's car later in life.
Yes.
That company was in business for about 30 years.
Yes.
That's quite remarkable. And which they built about 3,300 cars.
3,380. Roughly.
3,380. Oh wow. You've had a lot of cars. You showed me some pictures. You've had some drag cars. You had a 65 Chevelle Gasser style car. You had a Corvette, C4 Corvette race car. I mean, how many cars do you have now?
I've got 3 cars right now.
This
3
one?
cars. I got an Excalibur. I have a Corvette drag car that I still race.
And this. Plus your daily driver.
Yes.
But that doesn't do. You know, air conditioning was a big ticket item back then. People don't understand. Not all cars had air conditioning because it was such an expensive option.
Right.
It could be, in many cases, 10% of the price of the car, which is kind of shocking. Now, is there anything you would change about this car?
No, there really isn't. Like I said, I enjoy everything about it. I enjoy driving it. I enjoy seeing people liking it because of the rarity of it.
And I'm glad you do drive it and enjoy it. I mean, I think there's nothing against the trailer queen part of the hobby, but, you know, if and when the day comes that you sell this car, I don't think there'll be any question that you got your money's worth out of it. You enjoyed it so very much. I'm enjoying it so very much right now. I have to tell you, this thing is just spectacular.
Oh, thank you. I enjoy that. Again, other people enjoy it. So, the neat thing about this particular car was somebody ordered it with the big motor, and you try to figure out why. Did they want to tow something? Did they want to just have the performance of it? And this car also could be ordered with a 4.25 horse 427.
That's correct. Yeah, that was 68. The L72 4.25 horse engine returned to the model lineup after a 1-year absence. That had to be extremely rare. I mean, they only made approximately 1,778 SS427s that year. I can't even imagine how few of them had the L72. And the 427, the L36 version that's under the hood of this, 385 horsepower, that was really an ideal engine. It made 460 pound-feet of torque.
Yes.
So if you were towing a boat, or you were towing
Yes.
a camper, or if you just wanted to go fast, it just had torque reserves everywhere. It had plenty of torque to get this beast off the line. I mean, just a really ideal engine. Now it was rated at 390 horsepower in the Corvette in 68.
Right.
The Corvette had an open element air cleaner, so it breathed a little bit better perhaps, but the Corvette, because of that air cleaner, if I'm not mistaken, you had to get the air injector reactor air pump for emissions purposes, which gave you more restrictive exhaust manifolds. So
Right.
in a sense, they're probably very close horsepower wise from the way they left the assembly line.
Of course, the weight difference makes all the difference in the world.
Oh,
And again, my understanding, this car weighs close to 4,400 pounds, being a convertible. It has the box frame.
all right, all you metalheads, we're done for the day. 4,000 pounds of pure Chevrolet bliss packed in a red and white package. We hope you enjoyed our show today. Don't forget, come back for some more. Hit that subscribe button. We got lots more cool feature cars coming your way, and you won't want to miss any of them.